What up, people? Crack Lemonade here, and I will start out with a little context behind the video that's playing itself before I get into the topic that I want to talk about. So, I was playing Smackdown, Here Comes the Pain, and I remembered the character editor. I remembered that you could give your character Super Saiyan hair. And there was a character that I created in whenever this game was out that I wanted to recreate. But I really only had concepts of what the character looked like. So I ended up recording the character creation process and doing a little bit of the career. And, I just decided to not do the character creation thing. And, I thought that using this to talk about what I wanted to talk about was adequate because it is wrestling related. It's not this era of wrestling. So I'm going to you're talking about modern WWE playing an older WWE game. And really what I want to talk about is Roman Reigns. And you could be like, Crack Lemonade, why don't you get WWE 2K15 or a later game where you can play as Roman Reigns? I could do that, but I don't want to. So I'm going to talk about it with this game because it's WWE. I'm talking about a WWE character that doesn't really come out for years. And, it could be like, oh, well, you're not using a custom character of film. Why would I do that? I literally was trying to create a character that I made in my teenage years, and I don't know if I succeeded because I kind of don't really remember. I just remember the stance and I remember the hairstyle. So everything else, I was just kind of winging it. And moveset wise, for me, when I was younger, I would always make my characters have a moveset that is a blend between Kane and Jeff Hardy. So it would have the high flyer and it would have the powerhouse, because those were my two favorite wrestlers at the time. But let me transition into the topic that I want to discuss with this video, because I'm really digging the Bloodline storyline. It is an example of really long-term storytelling, and more so how they want Roman Reigns and a lot of other wrestlers to be perceived in the future and going on. And I really love that. I love that because I have been a long time Roman Reigns fan. And what ended up happening is the more they faded out Kane in the WWE games, the more I started using Roman Reigns as my main character in these wrestling games. And I can, see that Roman Reigns wasn't always a liked character. I think going from the Shield, post-Shield, a lot of fans vehemently rejected Roman Reigns whenever they tried to give him a title opportunity, whenever he was put on the top. They would always intend for him to be a babyface, and people always be like, Roman suck, and all this stuff. I've had discussions with my cousin years ago at the beginning of his kind of singles run. And I do think that not changing his gear and keeping the Shield music so much time after Shield drastically, like, had a drastic effect on him. So I do think there is aspects of they fumbled him so many times that they had to work even harder for his character to even be liked in WWE. And it seems like they really couldn't get an organic push for him for years, to the point where he won the WWE title one year, and because they wanted people to support him, they did the one versus everyone thing where he defended the WWE title in the Royal Rumble. I don't know how many times that has happened in Royal Rumble history, where the end result isn't the main event match at WrestleMania, but actually the WWE title. I don't even think Roman won that Royal Rumble. I believe that Triple H ended up winning the Royal Rumble because it looked like Roman was going to win, and the fans just started turning on him and booing really loud. And it even boiled down to the fact where when he dropped the title and walked away from WWE because he had to deal with leukemia. I'm not going to say he got leukemia, because I believe that was something that he already had, but it also was something that he had to deal with at a certain point and step away. When he came back, he was met with cheers, but then he won the title, and we got the beginning of pretty much the Bloodline storyline, where he was doing the wreck everyone and leave thing. He got Jay to join forces with him. Jimmy was kind of like, don't do this. And we got this really, basically 4-year-old story of the dominance of not only Roman Reigns, but the Usos as well, which was really one of the highlights for me going into the Bloodline storyline these past few years. Seeing so many wrestlers being elevated because of this one storyline. And it wasn't just Roman Reigns and the Usos, it was everybody they faced. It was Sami Zayn, it was Kevin Owens, it was Randy Orton. Every opponent that Roman Reigns has had during his run as the tribal chief ended up in a better position because of the storytelling, which is really one of the most beautiful things about this storyline to me. And I will stop here and say that this is all my opinion. This is my perception. you might disagree with me with anything that I previously said in this video so far, and that is completely fine. I am talking about my opinion of this as somebody who did I liked the Shield. I liked all three members of the Shield. When they broke up, I liked all three members of the Shield. I did not hate Roman Reigns. I felt like I saw what they were trying to do, and he was putting in the work, in my opinion, and I felt like the effort is worth the praise. Even if he did do really bad promos back in the day, like the one that everybody made fun of where he said something, suffering succotash in the promo. He didn't write that. He was handed that, and he did everything that he could. And unfortunately, I feel like, and I am not a expert, but I feel like that's kind of the thing that happens when you are the son of a wrestler or the child of a wrestler, where there's a higher expectation for you to go to the top, and usually at the beginning there's a rough spot. The Rock went through the same thing when he was Rocky Maivia. They had him as the blue chipper. He had like those streamers. He had the curly top, and everybody hated The Rock. I could probably play WWF Warzone right now, which I won't because I don't want to subject myself to torture. And you would get the Rocky Sucks chants. That was really before The Rock came into his own, built his own character, started saying the catchphrases that we remember, like Jabroni, Rudy Poo, Smackdown, the show. Like, would Smackdown have existed without The Rock? I don't know, but he was the one who said, "Layeth the Smackdown," before Smackdown debuted in 1999. These things happen. It takes a while to build these things up. And with this current storyline, I really think that they are looking for the future, and they're looking at the future perception of everybody involved. And this isn't something that I feel as though I can say about every storyline in the WWE, and it probably won't happen again. There's probably not a plan post Bloodline, but I do love this new Bloodline versus old Bloodline thing, and I really love the fact that we are really getting this arc where Roman isn't coming back after WrestleMania on the top. He has to basically reckon with the past 3-4 years of the Bloodline, with Jay not trusting him anymore, Sami Zayn not trusting him anymore, and at the time of this video is going to be released, we don't know how this is going to end. Very hopeful, and we all understand that this is probably going to get a War Games match with the original Bloodline versus the new Bloodline, with Sami Zayn included. But beyond that, this is a week-to-week story that is unfolding, and this is the first time in a long time where I'm actually thoroughly invested in seeing how this plays out. Because in my mind, I do see that Roman Reigns isn't entirely a babyface yet. He is still the same Roman Reigns from WrestleMania, even though the crowd is cheering for him. And he has to come to terms with, oh, there's no wise man. And even if Jay is on his side and Sami Zayn is on his side again, it won't be the same bloodline, because neither one of them is going to take the cruelty that his leadership provided previously, because they have both gone off and become their own characters. So, well, I mean, Sami Zayn was his own character before, but that is besides the point. Like, there has been this arc of Sami Zayn where he was always somebody's follower, and the Bloodline storyline ended in a way where we can actually believe that Sami Zayn could be a world title contender one day. He could be a good IC champion again with a decent reign. It might not be anytime soon, but at the end of the day, the possibilities are open for everyone involved, including Jimmy Uso. Jimmy Uso could be a good singles champion. He could be a US champion in the future if they don't rush their reuniting the Usos and let both of them be their own characters. Because we are getting a new version of the old bloodline where each member is their own person and they're not all following under the cues of Roman Reigns. And Roman's loss at Crown Jewel kind of solidifies that, in my opinion, that this is the humbling arc for Roman Reigns, where Roman isn't going to continue to be that old leader of the bloodline, because he cannot be that old leader of the bloodline anymore. He's going to have to change. Even though when he came back, he said, "I never change," which I think is really great storytelling right there. And even him going to the ring, be like very slow and looking to where Paul Heyman used to be, sometimes further, like before stepping up the ring steps. All those things, all the mannerisms that Roman's doing, the way he is still carrying himself is really great. It's showing that there will have to be some changes made. There will have to be some things that Roman has to change about himself to actually become who we see him to be once again, which is the GOAT, the tribal chief. And he's not going to end up being the same tribal chief. He's not going to possibly need to do all these matches where everybody's running interference for him. We're probably going to get to see a dominant Roman Reigns, and we're probably going to get to see Roman Reigns get pinned a little bit more humanized. He was pinned by Solo Sikoa, and Crown Jewel is a situation where he really can't blame anyone for the situation. He was pinned, and even if he did, there are some things that him and Jay have to work through. There are things that Jay and Jimmy have to work through to really get to a point where they're good. And I think that's a really great spot for the Bloodline to be in right now. And I do think at the end of this, we're probably going... I don't think that we can have, I guess, a Bloodline with a babyface Roman. I could be wrong, but I feel like at the end of this, Roman's probably going to realize that, I can't be this way anymore. So we're going to see some kind of change or evolution from him. And I think it will be for the better. I think we're going to see some changes for Jimmy. We're going to see some changes for Jay. We've already seen changes for Jay. So even if they became the Usos again, they wouldn't be the same Usos anymore. Even Jay said it recently. He's like, hey, they won't be... They can tell us apart now. Which, so much storytelling and so much to give us. And they have been really feeding us, which is just one of the most wonderful things about this whole situation with the Bloodline. And I will also say, I love what Solo's been doing as like the evil foil. I think he's been hilarious. I also think that Jacob Fatu has been hilarious. I love you, Solo! I crack up every time he puts those hands together. He's like, Solo! And he just goes with it. He gives it his all. It's just been a fantastic run so far. And I look forward to seeing how this all plays out. And I just wanted to talk about it. Like, I've been talking about it with like certain people offline, and I did make a video about it, and I've been at a deficit of videos. So I decided that, hey, let me talk about it with this right now. And to be perfectly honest with you, I also did not want to make this a Smackdown Here Comes the Pain video using my custom character. I also didn't just want this footage to go to waste either. So I thought that this was the best middle ground for it all. I hope that some people aren't upset that I'm not using footage of Roman Reigns wrestling while talking about Roman Reigns. I just don't feel as though it's necessary. I just want to talk about this, but I can't necessarily use footage from WWE without getting actually smacked by WWE. And this seems to be the better solution for it all. So I also may go back and do a video on Smackdown Shut Your Mouth, because those two games were the best of the Smackdown series so far. But these are my thoughts. If you agree with me, you can totally let me know. If you disagree with me, you can also let me know. However, I will say, please be respectful. Like, I'm not trying to convince you of anything. Don't try to convince me of anything. Let's just have a discussion. That's all. And if you were like, I'm very indifferent of this, and this is another storyline I care about, tell me about it, because what am I missing? What is it? What excites you about current WWE right now? Because I kind of think some of the other storylines within WWE fall flat. I really haven't been following AEW as much anymore, and so I don't have any opinions about AEW right now. But yeah, let me know, and enjoy the rest of this match. And I will catch you guys next time. Peace.